After a winter storm and the melted snow of 2023, I was reminded of a story. The story was told to me by someone very old a long time ago. I didn't put much thought into it at the time because I believe that the entire world belongs to the young, but I listened anyway. However, in the half-melted, tire-marked, blackened snow of 2023, I could think of nothing else. There are two actors. Every story of growth, which all stories ought to be, begins with two actors and ends with no actors.
This was a cryptic opening to a story I told the old storyteller.
I was never too shy to interject with my 2 cents.
The actors were hired to perform a play, but had no experience, none at all. It should be not dissimilar to a birth, the director would say.
We are not born into this world with the experience necessary to pull off a masterpiece performance. The actors thought nothing of this artistic drivel. This was just some silly old director rattling off things that made him seem more interesting as a capital A artist. So rehearsals began, and the two actors took the stage, each entering from opposite sides. Stage left and stage right is what they're called.
Not that either of them knew that beforehand. They stood there for several moments, unable to hear anything.
The stage was black, save for spotlights, blinding spotlights. They could not see each other because the light on themselves was too bright.
Each respective actor turned character standing opposite each other on stage, not even able to see the other. They stood there for what felt like hours, not knowing what to do, say, or how to move.
The director had told them very little, what felt like nothing at all because of the cryptic nature in which all capital A artists speak. All of a sudden, there was a loud squeal, like a microphone being held against an amp. Feedback that made the two actors wince in pain. The loudest and most unpleasant sound either of them had ever heard in their natural, non-performing life.
A voice began to boom from a location they couldn't identify. They looked around nervously, not knowing if this was part of the capital A actor's process, not having any idea of what they'd gotten themselves into, and beginning to question if the process of the capital D director was really worth anything at all. But they both carried on, as they were not part of this world and really had no understanding of what they were supposed to do at all. Then, abruptly breaking the din of feedback noises was a booming voice that began by saying, All right, I'm going to tell you exactly what to do, where to go, what to say, how to go, and how to say. Are you ready?
Are you ready? The actors, terrified to say anything at all at the risk of disappointing their dear director, said nothing at all and nodded their heads. The director's voice then split 5 ways. It was clear that he was barking orders at them, telling them exactly what to do and how to do it.
But they couldn't make out a single word of it. It was all a mishmash of go here, do this, deliver this line. But none of the heres or thises were anything close to intelligible.
The actors stayed in their respective corners, shaking in fright. Any move made could be the wrong move. They'd never acted before. They didn't even know the first thing about acting. They could ruin this entire production if they made the wrong move. Their inability to move wasn't necessarily due to a concern for the way that their movements would affect the
artistic integrity of the director. Rather, it came from a hesitation to put their first foot forward in such a way that they would never be respected as actors again.
Not that they wanted to even be respected as actors necessarily.
But they wanted to be respected as something.
The story ended abruptly there. The old storyteller had gotten up and left the room. I waited for hours and hours and they never returned.
I was infuriated. What a dissatisfying conclusion. The old storyteller must have been too old to even understand what makes stories compelling. I started to think of myself
as one of the actors, and mainly what I think about is how badly I want the spotlight to turn the fuck off.
There's someone across the room who's hearing the same amalgamation of 5 voices from the same man and has no fucking clue what they're doing.
This person is a first-time actor just like me.
I know that they are there, but I can't see them.
I know that they're there, but I don't know whether or not I'm allowed to venture into the center. It's torture. In the melted snow of 2023, I was deeply in love. Not that it was the first time I'd been in love, but I began thinking a lot about my past loves.
I've been in love with people in the same corner, who wandered in and out of my own blinding spotlight.
But no one had ever forced me to move to the center, or shown me that if I dared step foot closer to center stage, the spotlight might just move with me. and the director might be pleased with my movement,
and the critics might rave about me the next morning.
But there it was, and there we were.
And we were moving all around, and the stage was open to us, and we both knew it.
And I still couldn't comprehend what the director was saying, but I could finally comprehend, at the very least, what the other person was saying, and we just kept
moving, and there was a whole stage for us to fuck around with.
And I couldn't wait to see what kind of
Props there were backstage, and
handcrafted scenery we could take advantage of.
It was all opening up in a giant way, while the din of the director's voice droned on
and became pleasant and ambient. These overlapping voices bringing comfort, as I knew that we were both hearing them.